the next question is, well, what would happen if you hit, uh, you know, a reactor in southern South Korea at the Corey facility, let's say? Yes, these are Corey. And you manage somehow to penetrate the containment building, or you had a core meltdown. The prevailing winds are such that you know you might end up at some portion of the year contaminating a good portion of southern South Korea, and another portion of the year, almost all of the contamination would harm Japan. And we're going to have a war game that I'm putting together where China wants to invade Taiwan and tie down South Korea, Japan, and the United States. So they start with a strike like this to keep us distracted from what China might do to Taiwan. Why? Well, because this is going to cause millions of people to have to evacuate. It's going to put the military on full alert, and everyone's going to need everyone's help. Let's go to the next slide. It gets worse. If you go after the fuel ponds, they're far nastier than going after the reactor and causing a reactor meltdown. You can see here that compulsory evacuations, which would be orange or red, cover enormous areas. Long story short, I don't know that any of this is likely, but like nuclear weapons, you have to start worrying about this happening. And the deniability of someone saying, well, it was an accident, we didn't really mean to hit it. We can see from the Zaporizhia game, they're saying, well, that was an accident, or more likely, oh, they did it, not us. If you're in a war and say, oh, it's a false flag operation. They did that just to make you believe we did. And so, attribution becomes an issue as well in war. Let's go to the next slide. Well, this is of some moment. Depending on the prevailing winds, you might very well irradiate either Poland or Turkey. And why is that important? Well, they're members of NATO. Does that trigger a NATO response? One person, I'll go to the next slide, says yes. I don't know, this fellow, he's sort of important. He's the chairman of the House of Commons Defense Select Committee, and he says, let's make it clear now, any deliberate damage causing radiation to a Ukrainian reactor would be a breach of NATO's Article 5. The complete thought is, if that radiation went into a NATO country. So that's a question. I don't know whether he's bluffing or that's true, but it's a question. It wasn't a question before. It is now.